to start, so I can let him go, Rashida, every time I meet anyone from my favorite show in the world, I introduce them to Benjamin Wyatt the cat because well, and there he goes. But I introduced
Wow. Does he like calzones?
I'll try. I have a little mini
You
plate.
should.
I should try it.
If his
Uh,
name is Ben Wyatt, he must.
he has to. It works. To start, I love how dark this show is. I like that it says it's a dark comedy, but I fully was not prepared for how actually dark it gets. For you guys as actors, when you get to kind of really dive into the darkest part of, I think, like the brink of a dark comedy, what is the joy of getting to bring those little elements in more than like, the slapstick comedy or kind of the sitcoms we're used to?
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope that, I've been lucky enough in my career to do things that feel grounded, that have a heart and are grounded in some type of reality. But when things are really, really dark, the reality is you need to break that tension with comedy. That's
Mhm.
just in life, have found that to be the case. And actually, probably like the hardest, like almost like ferocious laughter I've ever had is when I've had the hardest times in my life. So hopefully that comes across in the show. And I think also like just working within the kind of like the darkest areas, you need to have that comedy. And those are the things I like watching the most, and I hope people feel that way about the show, which is like I don't like being dragged so far into the drama of something, the darkness of something. I'm like, give me a break. I just need a break. I need air. I need a little giggle, something. So hopefully people get that with this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love also, it's very weird to be talking through technology that translates things because I did an in-person interview the other day, and the man I was talking to was Japanese, and so his translator, like at one point he said flower, and I was like, oh, I know Hana because my cousin's name is Hana because my aunt's Japanese. And I was like, if we had like just the translation technology, I wouldn't have had that moment. And I do like that the show kind of also uses that by having Susie be there. She uses this technology. She doesn't speak Japanese. What for you guys is the more interesting aspect of that commentary and getting to really explore that as like actors, knowing that like, yeah, these two characters may not actually be speaking the same language at some point, and they have to only relate to what the voice in their head is telling them the other person said.
Well, I mean, Masa, his whole thing is he wants to be able to communicate with Susie without the device, and she sort of intentionally put herself in a place where she didn't have to learn the language. She didn't have to fully assimilate. Um, and in a way she draws him to her by, with this thing where she's like, she kind of refuses to learn Japanese. So I think it's sort of like it's the opposite of what you're saying, which is like it's a way to sort of like it's so convenient for her that she doesn't have to bring herself closer to Japanese culture. And I think he probably in turn likes that about her, because then I think he wants to connect with her on her terms in her language. But yeah, there's all these things that were sort of afforded because of like the technology. I don't think Susie 50 years before could have lived in Japan without the simultaneous translation, because how would she function in the world? She refuses to learn the language, but now she's got this like convenience that allows her to do so, which is like good and bad, like everything.
Mhm.
多分その僕だけじゃなくて多くの人が
I
体
think
験
it's not only for me, but I think a lot of people are experiencing the same
そのまあ
thing
僕は
where even though like I'm not very good in English, but even though you have this tight little bits of English, even because you're not a native English speaker, there are these moments where because you're not native, you could really convey emotions very well. For example, when I
話をし
met
て
Rashida for the first time via Zoom, we were talking with each other through the screen. We were reading the script, and then we were giggling, bursting out in laughter, and doing so one side is not a native English speaker, but we're still communicating, we're still speaking. I think we have this like soul to soul connection. So because of that, because I was not a native speaker, I think I was able to connect clearly and closely. So Masa is not a great English speaker, but he does his best to communicate. And in that situation, the two characters have these two um, lonely souls, and then that connected. They had the spiritual
あくまでその
connection, and then they fell in love. So language is something at the other end, or I think the spiritual or this connection of the two souls are more important, and then comes language, and those are the aspects that is portrayed in this story.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think for our last fun question, I have to ask, I love that this robot that Massacre created looks like Eve from Wall-E, but is like very, very sinister. So it's like the evil version of this robot that everyone kind of loves. If you guys did, I know it's not the point of this show, but if you guys didn't get to have a robot that kind of followed you around, do you have a picture of what that robot is in your head? And is it like Short Circuit or something that we already
Hmm.
kind of know exists?
Yeah, I would definitely want the robot to look as little like a human as possible, because I would want to remember that we were different, you
Mhm.
know, like I wouldn't want to try to be fooled by the robot. I think I'd want it to be littler than Sunny, just like kind of just to, again, just in size to feel like I don't make it more significant than it is already. But I think it being cute really helps, you know, especially if she's annoying like Sunny and then maybe a little bit evil, you know.
そうだね。
I agree. You made me laugh. Yeah, for me, what's the best thing about the evolution of technology is that all the stuff that you have to do at home, chores, you have the washing machine. Obviously, it had to be done by hand in the olden days. So all these things that we had to do at home, machines and robots have come in to help us have more time. And so, yes, I will welcome robots like that.
That
Love
I
it.
agree with that. Thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. And Rashida, again, thank you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart that Parks and Rec has made me very happy person. So it means a lot
Thank
to have you
you.
today.
Thanks for introducing me to
you.
Ben Wyatt.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
Have a great day.
Everyone.
Bye.